up, everybody? Welcome to the first ever episode of Three Dudes in Their 20s, featuring Grant.
Hey,
Tobin,
everybody.
And Will.
Hey, that's me, bro.
That's you, bro. That's
me.
you.
Just three dudes in their 20s, man. That's what it's all about.
Even
That's what it's
20.
all about. I just turned 20 about a month ago.
Yeah, I was like, wait, are you?
So I almost didn't make the. I almost didn't make the
cut, bro.
That's what I'm
We
saying.
almost kept you. I didn't mean to like.
I know.
That, but
It's
yeah.
crazy.
Will just turned
I turned 22.
22.
Yeah.
20 last week.
Happy
You
late
turned-
birthday, buddy.
Hey, thanks, brother. You turned 22 in like 2 months.
Yeah, April 5th.
Like less than 2
awesome.
months.
Yeah, it's coming up fast, man.
Dang, bro, you're about to be ancient.
Yeah. That's kind of like, I mean, that's what I feel like
22 or 23?
being a senior. But
That's crazy. So all right, Grant. I have a question for you.
what's going on, man?
What are you feeling right now? I mean, this first ever episode, first ever podcast. It just kind of started out as an idea. Like, how do you feel right now that this is like actually?
This is honestly like, it's very surreal right now.
yeah. Feels a bit
Kind
weird,
of
doesn't it?
walking down this evening and seeing like the lights on, the turf, the on air sign we just hung up like literally 30 minutes ago, and the fact that all of this just kind of came about, but at the same time we've put hours into this like in the past few weeks. It's kind of surreal, and the fact that I'm able to do it with you guys is pretty special.
It's
and-
pretty
and-
great. We got this group here. You know,
Yeah.
Like,
And just the idea, I mean, I don't know if you want to kind of, Will and Tobin, kind of explain how we got to this point, and then we'll kind of get into some content, but go for it.
yeah. I mean, so right at the start, honestly, I didn't know it was like Dean Winslow. I didn't know like all these people talked to you before this year, but I was honestly like on Christmas break. I was in Germany at the time, actually. And I just missed having the conversation with my boys, you know, like not just you two, but my friends from back home, my family and stuff like that. Like I just missed having a conversation with them. So I was kind of like, imagine if people could listen to those conversations, you know, because sometimes we talk about some good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of brought it upon me during Christmas break,
Yeah.
but it's kind of weird because I had the idea, the forethought like last year about it. And then like after we got back from break, and then like me, you, and Will are all sitting at lunch, and we're just having good old conversations, you know, like stuff that we talk about on a daily basis that
And we're just like, dude, that should be in a podcast.
it should be, you know. And
So an
we're
idea just kind of went one wall panel at a time, one, you know, honeycomb sound panel at a time.
Yeah, literally. So, yeah.
And it all just kind of came about. It was a great experience, actually. Like the journey.
Will, do you want to kind of
Yeah,
bring
let's
to
hear it. Let's
light
hear it.
your kind of side of the story, maybe?
It's one of those things where I was just chilling, and it was one of those things like, hey. it was like a hey, we're doing this and you're a part of it. I was like, oh, well, all right, I got it. Why not? I do 15 million other things, yeah. And it's there's no way on God's green creation we can recycle anything with the three of us.
The amount of conversations we have.
Oh my,
like,
dude, oh man, you have no idea. So that's one thing that I think is really good, picking the three of us, because we're all three heavily involved in a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And we do things differently. 3 different majors.
What we have a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
like-
3 dudes in their 20s. I mean,
A lot of experience.
up to this point, you know, like obviously older people will say you haven't lived your entire life, and you know, even your parents say things like that, but up to this point, you know, I can definitely say, and I'm sure these two can attest, that we've gone through some different experiences, and we're here to share that, and just our, I mean, very humbly say, but just our successes up to this point, you know, it's at least for me, it's a credit to a lot of other people. And these two are a big part of it as well. So the fact that I get to share, and we get to share this time and these stories to obviously kind of bring out to an audience that wants to listen is pretty exciting. And we're here to share, like I said, stories, experiences, and just
And failures.
And that's the biggest thing that we'll probably end up talking about, is just things that haven't gone our way, but we've learned from it, and you know, listen to older people kind of talk about their experiences, and you know, get some guests on, get some friends, some people we might not know as well, and kind of just run with it from there.
We'll get a lot of different perspectives from a lot of different people. I think that's what's going to make this so special. The amount of people we plan on having, the amount of people that have so much to bring to the table, right? To where they can just share all their failures, how to, I don't know, just how to be better and
Exactly.
as a whole.
Yeah. And I think before we move on to anything else, there are people we need to thank,
Oh,
100%.
right?
There's many people.
I mean, yeah, like, you know, you think, like, of course, like Dean Winslow for like kind of spearheading the idea.
Yeah. Dean Bridget Winslow, she's up in the upstairs in Sarek. Her office is located up there. She's been a major part in my life ever since actually my senior year when I came to Defiance, and through that recruitment process and everything, I met her. So big shout out to her, and obviously
The marketing staff.
Yeah, I was gonna say the whole
100%.
marketing department. Angela,
Marketing department.
Huge thank you. Huge thank you.
Angela Sotheby, Britta Baker, Ryan Mays,
All the equipment.
all the equipment and
Absolute
and everything. I know Tobin's been pretty close with Dr. Caldwell.
We've been having some conversations about it.
Yeah.
So Dr. Agnes Caldwell, very big shout out to her. And I mean, I guess we got to just thank the college in general.
We do.
This isn't our space.
This isn't
I
our
mean,
space, you know.
And how willing they were to just go.
Everyone.
Well, yeah, sure, yeah.
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 Go on it,
Like,
man.
and
Go,
that's the thing,
go
it's-
take it.
And I mean, granted, it's because of past things we've done, but at the same
The
time,
trust goes a long
yeah,
way.
It's one of those things where they were like, it's Grant Johnson, Tobin, and Will Garlock. Oh my God, yeah, they can do whatever they want. Eventually, right? Because we know it's gonna get done the right way, done with respect, and
Yeah.
Right.
they know how to do it, right? So that's why you always gotta remember them and thank them, and then keep moving forward with them.
Sure.
With them there. So I just thought that needed to be said.
Oh yeah.
Especially before we started to giddy up and go, because they're the reason why we're here.
Yeah,
Right.
of course.
Yeah.
And with that being said, I mean, Tobin kind of had some ideas planned for the pilot, as Will would say. You know, so if you want to get into those, we can.
Yeah, I mean, so
right.
while you guys were already talking, there's already some stuff that I wanted to address, and there was things that you said that made me think like, oh, dude, that's like one of my top quotes, you know? So I for this episode, like already off the bat, I wanted to talk about like kind of how we live our life. And we live our life based on, well, me anyway, there's like a lot of different quotes that I save. I have notes, or I have quotes saved in my notes section that, you know, I kind of go back to, and like stuff that runs through my mind every day about how I want to live my life. So what I wanted to ask you two is, what are your guys' like top 1, 2, or you go one by one, but what is like, we'll start with Will, like what is one of your top favorite quotes that you kind of live your life by?
I got 3.
Three?
I know you told me 2, but I got 3 because I can't just.
Do you want to like share one at a time and then go back around?
The first one comes from legendary Jedi Grandmaster Yoda.
Master Yoda.
Yoda says,
If anybody doesn't know Will Garlock, he's a big Star Wars guy.
ginormous Star Wars fan, and
Yeah,
you all can
Legos.
deal with that how you want to.
Meanwhile, on the other side of the table, I've never seen Star Wars.
And like, and then don't act like Tobin
That's
don't
a
love Star Wars.
That's
either.
a conversation for another time.
Yeah.
We'll just bash on Grant for knowledge.
Yeah, we will.
I'll probably see that in the comments
You're
section.
gonna have to at some point. But no, Yoda said, "The greatest teacher failure is." Right. So it's like, yeah. Right. So like,
Could you say that one more time?
Can you say it in a Yoda accent for me? At least try it.
I can't, bro. I'm alive, bro. The greatest teacher failure is, right, and
Okay.
because you learn from failure, right? Like my thing is, I'm so successful because I fail, because I learn, I grow from my experience, and I learn from my failures, right? When I was younger, I had a fear of failing, right? I was afraid to fail.
I think everyone is at one point in their life.
Yeah.
You know, but as you
Especially as they enter their 20s, you know?
I was more in like when I was younger, because it was like, I remember being in high school, I wrote a paper on like, it was like, what is one thing you're afraid of? And I immediately offered up as the fear to fail. I'm afraid to fail my parents. I'm afraid to fail wherever school I'm at. I'm afraid to fail my friends, afraid to fail my family. Exactly, right? I'm afraid to fail people, because failing people is the worst feeling in the world, right? Because you let people down. So, I mean, like, and then going to college, going through everything my freshman year of college, and kind of failing myself in a way, right? Just because that's kind of how it just felt. I learned that it's the greatest teacher. Like it really is. Because if you don't, my thing is, if you're not failing, you're not growing.
Exactly.
If you're not
Exactly.
learning, you're not growing. You learn from failure.
You kind of talked about, or you just kind of mentioned your overall, like when you got to college, feeling like you were failing. I know it's kind of hard to pinpoint an exact moment, but is there anything off the top of your head that you're like, I remember this experience and like
Yeah, I think I was going to ask the
felt
same
kinda
thing.
That I
like,
never wanted to feel it again.
yeah.
So,
not
like-
even that, but just something you look back now and you're like you learned from it.
Yeah. Oh well. When I was a freshman in college, I wasn't failing academically. Like my academics were great. I'd get the best grades I'd ever gotten up to my life up to that point. It was one of those things where it showed me that you don't always have to chase a bag. And if you don't know what a bag is money. You don't always have to chase money. That's one thing I taught.
bag is money.
That taught me in my life was that I chased a lot of money, right? Because I thought, oh, I can do this, X, Y, and Z. And it turned out to not be a good decision for me. So it was probably about October of our freshman year of college when I had realized, because I remember texting my mom and telling her, hey, I don't want to do this anymore.
Now, for those that don't know, you weren't at Defiance.
I was not
right?
here. I was at Mount Vernon Nazarene University in Mount Vernon, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I was. And it wasn't the place for me. You know, a lot of the people did not see eye to eye with me on some issues. And it was just one of those things where I didn't mind. I don't care what you believe in. I don't care what you practice. I don't care anything, right? I'm not here to judge you. But at the same time, if you say that and then judge me in turn for it, what are we doing?
Kind of contradicts.
Exactly. Yeah. They contradict themselves all the time. But it was one of those things where, you know, I learned from it, right? I consider that a failure, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I learned from it. You know, I failed trying to find my home, right? That's kind of how I.
Okay, so that's kind of what your
yeah,
your point of emphasis was,
right?
Okay.
Because like when I was in high school, that was home, and that's still home to me, right? LCC, where I went to high school, I'm Church Catholic, is my home.
Bean.
The Bean, baby,
Back
from
in the Bean.
Ohio. It's my home, man. It's where my heart will always be, right? But when you leave, like you guys both know, because
Oh, yeah.
Waynesville and St. Mary's are pretty close to both of you.
Sure.
That's your home, right? And you want to, and when you went to the next level, you were looking to find your home. And fortunately for you two, you both found your home, right?
We all found our home here.
Yeah, it just took me a little bit longer.
Yeah,
that's all right.
But you got here.
I did.
You know?
I got here,
and
that's what-
it's all about the journey. and
Exactly.
We'll
The journey
continue
was
to
a fun
talk
one.
about.
Oh my gosh, the journey was fun.
Lot
But
of
yeah, I
experiences.
would say that was kind of my thing. That's why when I heard Yoda say that, it kind of stuck with me,
Okay.
because I used to be afraid to fail. Now I'm really not. Like, do I get disappointed if I fail someone? Yeah, I do. You're going to. But then at the end of the day, I don't really harp on it because I learned from that. So
That's good.
I think that's a big kind of thing is the fear portion of that phrase, because especially, you know, the younger generation and people that are going through undergrad or whatever, a lot of times they get stuck on a relationship, a friendship, a project, athletics, anything, because of the word fear. I think that's a big part of it. And so that's kind of what stuck out to me after hearing you say that quote is like, you know, you can't fear the failure. That part really stuck to me.
And I think that kind of leads into my quote a little bit.
get even go. What's yours?
Go for it.
Well, I don't want to mess it up.
Oh, he's got to pull out the cellular.
Yeah.
For those
open out the cellular
for those audio listeners, Tobin's currently pulling out a cellular device.
iPhone. I don't know what iPhone it is. I don't know. It might be 10.
He is about to read.
Anyway, so it's kind of what you were talking about with fear. Where is it? So, all right, here it is. If you are consistently at your comfort zone, you are going to be consistently average.
Normalize discomfort. I always say
And
that.
that's the thing with fear, right? If you fear something, then you're going to be like, oh, I'm not going to do it. I'm scared of failing. You are going to stay in that comfort zone because you are too scared, too afraid to go out and do something that's going to set you apart from other people.
Who said that?
I don't know.
You know, okay.
I think I read it in my last book that I read. It was
Wrote
like,
it. What book was it?
his name's Chris Halko.
All right. Well,
And he is
we'll
a
credit him.
really, really successful personal trainer.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
So it was
What was the book called? Do you remember?
How to be a successful personal trainer.
Normalize discomfort, baby.
My Grammy got me that for Christmas. So
Shout out to Grammy, bro.
thanks, Grammy.
Thank you.
Thanks, Grammy.
Thanks, Grammy.
Yeah, but
So when you were going through your memory and you're thinking this quote, what kind of experience maybe led you to think of that, to share it here tonight?
Because I feel like I have to be comfortable at a place before I go out and do something uncomfortable. And that's kind of how it's always been through my whole life. Because my freshman year of college, I wasn't involved with nearly as much as I am now.
Yeah.
Like And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know if it's just good to just boom, you're in a new environment, go ahead and just get out there. Or I don't know if you need to kind of set your feet a little bit. And that's what my mom always says to me is like, you always kind of wait to get your toes in the sand before you just go out there. Like she always said stuff like that. I mean, yeah, I guess you're right. I never knew if that was a good or bad thing. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, I'd say it's a good thing.
But it's always in the back of my head to keep going out there and do something. That's something I always live by myself, kind of by this quote, is do something every day that you're uncomfortable with. And that'll consistently make you grow. And I think that's why I like that.
That's going to lead to my question. My question for you here.
Okay.
How do you normalize discomfort?
How do I normalize it?
How do you normalize discomfort? That's what I always say. I always say normalize discomfort, or learn how to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
That's what my dad always said.
That's one thing.
He taught me that growing up.
Yeah.
Be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And how do you do that?
It contradicts itself. And a part of me, I don't even know if you really can do it. I just think you get used to it, you know? And if you keep doing things, you're going to consistently get used to it. So it's almost like we all like went around, I don't know, like third grade, like reading a book. Everyone reads like a paragraph, or everyone reads a page of the book.
Reading.
Yeah. And it's like when you mess up, like reading, you know, like in front of all these people, your face starts to get red. Like everyone's judging you. Like you're in 5th grade. Like, oh my gosh, I'm freaking out.
5th grade or almost a senior in college?
Dude, I don't.
Throughout
all these years,
may or may not still happen,
But yeah, it's just one of those things. Like I used to freak out about that stuff, and like the little things now, it just doesn't matter as much. And you kind of have to look. I think to answer your question, you have to look at the bigger picture. No one's going to be thinking about that except you.
Exactly.
And in the long haul. So
yeah, I mean that's a big thing that I kind of realized coming out of high school. And I have a younger sister, and the fact that she was 2 years younger than me, when I was in the nitty gritty of starting college, she was still at that level, you know, the high school level, and certain things were going on with her as far as she was too concerned about what was going on at that kind of in her friend group and all that stuff. And I think, when I heard those things, I kind of think back to my experience, like leaving high school, and it's like none of that stuff really truly matters in the grand scope of things. Like obviously, and we talk about this all the time, whenever I meet a person, I always want to help them in some sort of way, or not necessarily take from them, but use some knowledge or use some encouragement from them to kind of use in my own life. So obviously you use those experiences like in high school, but it's kind of like what Will said. You got to think of the bigger picture. So I told my sister, I was like, you just got to look at the bigger picture here. None of this stuff, there's drama or whatever is going to matter. And I think a lot of times people get taken over by that because of fear, and they're like, oh, like at this moment, what's going on? Like it's very uncomfortable. And we're kind of talking about being comfortable, being uncomfortable. So
and to piggyback off that, I think it's good to look at people as you might not like something that they do, but you can always learn something and take something about how they live their life. Like my cousin's a cross country runner, and I admire his dedication. My other cousin is super into worship, and I admire his faith. Like you can take things from all these different people and kind of make it into your own and admire them for what they do.
Yeah.
So
that's an awesome point.
So Granto,
oh man,
I think it's up to you. See your first quote,
plate, man.
Is he gonna strike out?
I might strike out. I'm not a big baseball guy for those listening.
If you backwards K, that's a poll.
We can talk.
That's
baseball.
a poll.
We can talk
that's
baseball.
That's a poll. If you get a poll is running foul pole to foul pole. If you don't know what a foul pole.
I think I'm gonna talk about.
It doesn't have to be just like a quote. It could be a paragraph or whatever you got.
Yeah. I think I'll use this one. Just to keep on the kind of the same topic of like fear and like now. A big I guess piece of advice or thing that I always look to. You know, I'm a person of faith, but is like the phrase "this too shall pass." That's a big kind of thing that really perpetrates my mind a lot of the times.
How is that?
And so I'm pretty into like motivational things, different things like wake up, you know, read a devotional, kind of get after the day. That gets me started. But also one thing I do every day is I follow this Instagram account. He's a motivational guy. His name's Inky Johnson. So I follow him on Instagram. One time he posted this. It said, "This too shall pass." And then it says, "When things are bad, remember it won't always be this way. Take one day at a time. When things are good, remember it won't always be this way. Enjoy every great moment." So that's kind of how I look at situations and experiences in my life. Because you never can be too high and you never can be too low. I think we always have to sit back, look at the big picture, and put it into perspective that this life that we're on is a journey, and some days are going to be really good days, and you just need to really cherish those moments. But you also need to cherish those times when you're going through something difficult, because like you guys mentioned, you can take aspects of that person or whoever you're dealing with or whatever you're dealing with and kind of put it into your own life.
Right. And I think it's important to know, like, whether you're having a good day or a bad day, like you're having a great day of your life consistently for like however long. And even if you have a bad day, like, it's good to know, it might contradict itself. It's good to know that there's always a bad day coming, because it kind of shows you that you have something good to look forward to now. Like you want to be happy now knowing that a bad day's coming. Like that's the guarantee.
Yeah. Once I heard this, not a quote, but I guess it is a quote, but like time is our friend. And like a lot of times, I don't know, there's been times in my life where I'm like, I don't know if that's true or not. But then when you are dealing with a difficult situation, sometimes time is your friend, because if you're patient, patience is a virtue. I don't know if you've heard of that, but as time will go on, this too shall pass. So whether it's a high in your life or a low in your life, there's different seasons for everything. And that's just kind of, I guess you mentioned it. Look forward to the next day, even though it could be difficult, Like there got to be times, Will, maybe when you were at your previous institution where you're like, man, this is really hard. I'm having a really difficult day. But, I'm sure like in the back of your mind, maybe you're like, something's got to come out of this maybe. I don't know if you'd like to.
Going back to the cribbo. Yeah, that was what I looked forward to every day.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's part of every day.
I get what you're saying. Like, even like to this day, it's, you have to acknowledge there are bad days and there are good days, but the best part is you decide if it's a bad day or if it's a good day.
Like right when you wake up, that's the mentality.
Yeah, honestly, think about it. So it's like, it doesn't matter what situations happen.
That's like my next quote. I was going to say.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
We'll get to it.
Yeah. It's like what happens in your life, it doesn't matter. It's, you decide if it's a bad day or a good day. Like you could walk outside, it could be raining, it could be pouring, you could get some terrible news, X, Y, and Z happens. But if you go, well, it's a good day.
It's raining.
It's a good day.
It's raining. My day's gonna be crap. You already decided that.
Yeah, exactly.
You already decided.
It's a mental day, and it's a mental picture.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Tobin's gonna get to this, but I mean, we might as well go back around.
Yeah.
But this leads kind of into my next kind of quote that I was gonna mention.
Your second one then.
Second one.
All right, let's do it. Go back.
It's about gratitude, and when you wake up in the morning, you have to be thankful, and that's really been a big piece of my life this past year and a half. Going from junior to senior year, just with everything I've been about, is all about gratitude. So gratitude, like faith, is a muscle. The more we use it, the stronger it grows. If we don't practice gratefulness, its benefaction will go unnoticed, and our capacity to draw on its gifts will be diminished. To be grateful is to find blessings in everything.
That's awesome.
So,
I love that.
Yeah.
Thinking of the brain as a muscle, like if you don't use it, you're gonna lose it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of personal trainers, Tobin.
Personal trainer, yeah.
But
Certified personal trainer.
Certified,
yeah.
Yes. But yeah, it's just like got to think of the little things really do add up, and even if you're grateful for waking up in a bed, some people don't have that. Waking up and there's heat in the room or AC.
Gratitude.
Or just waking up in general.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's not promised. It's a big thing, and who cares if it's raining, man? Go out and make it a good day.
At this point, I don't even know if I want to say my quote, because it's kind of like
go for it.
It goes on the same tangent,
That's fine.
But
that's fine.
I think I'll say it, but I think
It's fine, sweetheart.
I think I'll say another one too.
Okay, say what, sweetheart.
Do it, man.
It's your world we're living in. It's your world taking up Aaron, man.
Some dude said that on an airplane once. Guy was trying to put his luggage into the little.
Okay.
What's that called? overhang,
Sure.
Overhead bin. I don't know.
overhead bin. Yeah, he's like trying to stick it in, and he's taking his grand old time. This old dude looks at me. He goes, "It's your world we're living in."
It's your world. We're just living.
The whole like plane started laughing. Funny story.
I think he had to be there.
I guess. Yeah, you definitely
had to be there.
You definitely had to.
You definitely had to be there.
That was a moment.
Anyway.
Anyway, Tobin, what was
Anyway.
you thinking about?
So I'll just say we don't have to talk about it because we already talked about it. But
Maybe something will come out.
the happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts.
Exactly. Yeah.
It just depends on, you wake up, depending on how you're thinking about the day, how it's going to go. You might have like 5-6 classes. You might get some really bad news. I mean, it sucks, but
Would you say that quote kind of maybe a good definition for the word perspective?
I think it's all about perspective I think it's all about perspective.
I think it's all about resiliency. Being
Okay.
resilient.
Yeah.
Right? Because
Let's hear it. Go on.
it doesn't I answered this question yesterday. Someone asked me,
Okay.
what's a more important quality to have? Being resilient or being determined? And I said, well, they kind of go together. And she was like, what do you mean? I went, well, if you're being resilient, you have to be determined.
Okay.
Right? Because if you're resilient, you're determined. You're determined to keep striving or keep doing better, because being resilient is essentially carrying on and just keep going, right? Not giving up. And if you're determined, you're
Same thing.
It's almost the same thing. You're determined to do something, right? You're being resilient and being determined are the same thing.
Having the consistency to do so.
Exactly, and that's kind of what that kind of brought me to was being resilient. Just making sure, like, being grateful every day, because like it's just all a choice. Like, as I said before, having a good day or a bad day is legitimately a choice.
Mm-hmm.
You could get the worst as ever. You get your dog died. You fell in a hole. You missed an assignment. You missed 2 classes and no homework. And your teacher preaches class like he's some kind of jerk or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just quoted Beastie Boys there. If you know that, you're valid. But
Matt Johnson, my father, will appreciate that
I
if
hope
he's listening.
Mr. Johnson, what a guy! What a guy!
Johnson.
But no, and if you do that, and that can happen to you, but you go, it could have been worse. I'm having a pretty good day. Like,
Yeah, that's one thing my
Tire
mom.
pops.
Yeah, my
Even
mom
worse.
always said, like, somebody's always got it worse than you, and somebody's always got it better than you. So
This all being said, it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be upset.
We're not saying
we're not saying
It's
don't
okay to have these
emotions.
emotions.
Yeah.
It's just not okay to stay there.
Yeah, it's not.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not okay to
Dwell over something that
dwell,
you're
that's a
not
good-
going to be thinking about.
and letting that cut you down in other parts of your life,
or deter you or make you fearful of something
Exactly.
else.
And
that kind of
if
wraps
that
up.
happens to you, right? If you let one situation destroy your entire life, you're never going to move on. You're never going to grow, right? Like, that's the one thing
Can't hold on
you
to
see
the
a lot
past,
of people
you know?
our age do. They hold on to,
grudges and stuff like
grudges
that.
and that. Like the easiest thing to go with is relationships, of course, right? I had a very bad breakup with X, Y, and Z, right? And it just destroyed me. I'm never doing this again.
Or I got a
What?
Yeah, you gotta
I got
move
a
on.
really
Gotta get over it.
bad grade on my first exam of this
I'm
class.
never trying
I'm gonna
to-
drop
I'm gonna
it.
drop this course and
the professor's
It's-
out to get me.
yeah.
Like,
You can't have that mindset. You can't feel sorry for yourself either. I think that's a big thing we're saying too.
unfortunately, that's our generation.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's what. If it's hard, people don't want to do it. John F. Kennedy said a great. It's not my quote, but I just realized.
Let's hear it.
Said a great thing. We don't do things because they're easy. We do them because they're hard, right? Like,
We do them because they're hard.
like, that's what. And it
Is that how
makes-
John F. Kennedy sounded?
Yeah,
It's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, we should look back at like one of the speeches and
Yeah,
stuff.
Kennedy's inaugural address.
That'd be cool.
That's what he said. In his
I do
inaugural
love
Maybe
address.
if we get
sports.
like a history buff or something up in the podcast.
Oh wait, that's me.
Oh, history guy right
hey,
here.
that's me. Oh,
History
that's
guy.
me, guys. How are you? No, but like, that's something that I immediately thought of. Like, we don't do this thing. Life. I tell this to everybody when they ask me, "Oh man, it's so hard." I'm like, well, if it was easy, everyone would do it,
Yeah,
and everyone would
That's
would
a
be
good
happy,
quote.
and everyone would be the same.
yeah.
Life is hard. So what?
You got to pick that path.
Everyone's life's hard. Just
In a
your
different way.
definition-
In a
your
different way.
definition of something being hard like your life
completely different.
Completely different from
exactly
from my definition of something being difficult, right? Like that's what it can be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I would say about that. Just kind of that tangent I just went on.
Okay. Well, then what's your last quote then?
So I kind of was a toss up between two of them.
We'll just pick one.
I love how he has these memorized.
It's tough, bro. Like I got.
Well, they're not too
I'm
complicated.
not going to talk about the first one because it's pretty self-explanatory, but I'll talk about the second one.
Okay.
The first one is you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Of Wayne Gretzky, great hockey player of all time.
Oh, I was going to say basketball.
I'm sure a lot of us heard that
No,
one before.
Hockey. It's actually a hockey
Really?
reference. And then Michael Scott said that.
So, all right.
Michael Scott did say
Michael
that.
Scott did say that.
How do you think that relates to fear? Like we were talking about earlier.
Hey, are you not taking that shot? Like
Because you're scared?
Being afraid to fail. Like that's handicapping you, right? Like it's not letting you get up and go.
This whole podcast thing could completely
I was
flop.
going to say.
The
what
fact
we're
that
gonna
we
do.
tried and took a shot.
And guess what?
I don't know.
Who cares if it failed? We're gonna keep doing it until we're done. Like
Facts. Yeah, this
until
is-
we're done here.
Exactly.
We're gonna keep going.
And that's
So
yeah.
It doesn't matter if 4 million people watch it or 4 people.
And that's
watch it, right?
that's
Like,
resiliency. That's
yeah,
resilience.
100%.
We put work into it and something we enjoy doing. We're not doing this for the views.
I was going to to add on to that, like, it's 100% describes what we're currently kind of undergoing. And because even last year, when Dean Winslow did kind of mention the idea to me, there was some fear though there for me. Like I was like, I don't really think I have time, whatever. Luckily time went on, this too shall pass, and things ended up working out the way they did. And I kind of got the situation put back into my front of my face, and it was like, you have the ability to kind of start this up, and now you have the people that are willing to do it with you.
People with similar mindsets.
Similar mindsets. What are you gonna? What are you gonna do with that? And it's kind of like we're given choices in life, I think sometimes, and we went with it, and we didn't really hold back. There was a really good video I watched one time about it was a skydiver, and he said, they were going skydiving. It was actually Will Smith. It was a video of him, famous actor. I'd hope they would know that, but
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
But anyways, he goes,
Fresh Prince, bro.
yeah, Fresh Prince. Anyways, he goes, when he was up in the airplane, he had never been skydiving before. I'd never been skydiving myself, so this
I would
kind
love
of
to go.
I would love to go with you guys. That'd be really fun. But anyways, they're holding on to. They're about to jump out of this plane, right? And in the plane, it's got the red, yellow, green light. Stop, medium, go.
Medium.
And
Medium, is that what it is? Slow down.
Slow down.
Slow down.
yield.
How do you immediately
Anyways,
stop?
Light's going to turn red, so go medium
Yeah.
speed.
Medium,
Medium speed.
You should do immediately, like, I don't know how you, like, mediumly fall. in the
like
sky.
medium fall.
Yeah, just slow yourself down. Just
I don't
start swimming
know.
in the
That's a
air,
lot
you'll
of
be fine.
physics,
Just
but
start swimming in the air, you'll be fine.
Anyway.
anyways,
Still fall.
it's
Still fall
at
away.
the red. It goes to the yellow, and the guy that he's parachuting out with, they count down from 3, 2, 1, but they push them out of the plane at 2 because people hold the side of the plane at 1 to grasp because they're afraid even when they're up in the situation to kind of go into it. But then he's like, it was free fall. They were falling out of the plane. Parachute comes open, and he looked down at the atmosphere and the ground, and he's like, this is like one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. And he was like, God puts the best things on the other side of fear. And so that's kind of what I thought
That's a
of.
story to tell.
That's kind of what I thought of, like, with this whole thing is we could have been afraid to maybe start this, but like, look what might happen in the future. And so God puts good things on the other side of fear, and we just have to be able to trust and have faith or whatever through our life and go for it.
We talked about something similar in one of my classes, Gen 201Z for all my classmates out there. It's the power of yes. Caldwell's
Take that
professor.
jacket
Shout out
journey.
Dr.
So,
Agnes Caldwell.
yeah, shout
Take
out.
that jacket journey.
We love Jacket Journey. I think
journey with the jackets.
I think I have the shirt on.
Get
right
your
now. I'm
jacket
not even sure.
points.
Journey with the jackets.
That should be a thing. If they listen to this podcast, they get some jacket points.
Talk to the goat,
Dr. Taylor, we're talking to you.
You get the jacket points. But no, yeah, it's the power of yes. Like someone comes up to you with an idea, like the coaching job. Like I asked Will, like, hey, you want to coach with me?
Yeah.
He didn't even hesitate. He said, yeah, because
let's
he knew
do
that
it.
was going to be an experience.
Let's do it.
Like
You guys want to put that in context a little bit?
like
Okay. All right. I'll take this one here.
Yeah, take this one.
Last summer, I am in the drive-through at a taco place, legitimately at a taco place.
Maybe
Taco
not
Bell?
the best place to
it was
eat,
a
but
Mexican like a local place.
Oh,
Local.
With
I thought it was
Moss.
Taco Bell.
Like the one on Cable Road. So if you're from Lima, you know what
Yeah,
I'm talking about.
yeah.
The one on Cable Road. So I'm sitting there getting some tacos, and I see a phone call from the Tobinator. I'm like, yo, what up? He's like, hey, bro, what are you doing this summer? I said, bro, I'm working. And he goes, you want to coach baseball with me? I said, for who? St. Mary's Junior Acme? I said, yay.
All right. So you said yes, but why did you say yes?
Because it's something I've always wanted to do. Like baseball is like my favorite sport, right?
Okay.
You think basketball, football, right? Golf, whatever, hockey. Like these are like baseball is by far my favorite sport. It has been since I was a kid, always will, like always has, always will be. And it was the one thing I've been missing in my life the last 3 years, right? Because here at Mount or the Naz, whatever where I was, I basketball and then lacrosse. Those are two sports I love, right? Then I came here. It was basketball and football.
And you were missing baseball.
And I miss baseball. That's the one thing I loved. I love baseball. Like the one true love in my life is baseball.
So this kind of situation kind of got put in front of your face. And
Yeah, you know, I took it right away.
So you
there
take
you go.
it.
Power of yes.
Took it right away.
So how would that? Because in the example we were talking about in class, like even if you don't want to do something, it still might be good to say yes to get the experience, to get the knowledge, to kind of have something to talk about. So like, what would you say about if baseball is something you hated to do, but you think it'd be a good experience?
And I thought it'd be a good coaching experience. I would say yes, right? Like I would say, there are a couple camps I coached last year for basketball, towards the latter part.
Okay.
No, 2 years ago, my sophomore year,
Okay.
latter part of the year. I really did not want to do them. Like I was getting ready to go to Florida, literally. So it was like, excuse me, sorry. It was like the camp was Saturday, Sunday on the weekend, like my only free weekend, right? I was going to Florida on that Monday. So I'm at school. I'm like, man, I don't know what I'm doing, and I ended up getting with a great program called Breakthrough Basketball. I worked for them, and I really enjoyed working through them. Granted, they did pay me to work camp, yes, but still,
Okay.
I was like one of those things where I just don't want to do this.
But after you did it, like, did you regret it?
No, I felt phenomenal. I got in touch with the head guy of the program. He was legit. He told me about great stories.
Yeah, that was my question. What came out of it as far as relationships or something,
I mean,
a benefit?
It was good because I met a lot of young players too. Right, I could like actually show.
Yeah.
As a college coach type deal. Like I knew what I was doing.
Kind of prove yourself. A little bit.
Legit, like I knew what I was doing, and it showed. I did know what I was doing. I did.
Yeah.
So it was one of those. It felt good. It felt
Yeah.
good, like, you know, to show that. And they were like, "Oh, well, that makes sense." You know, I'm telling a kid. I said, "Hey, dude, you know, you're not ripping this blade. You're not ripping the clothes. Like, you're not ripping this close out well, right? Like,
Yeah.
they're closing out so far. Rip that thing and go score." He's like, "Well, what do you mean?" I showed him. He's like, "Oh my god, I can do it." They start playing live. Kid does it, goes and throws one down, throws a dunk down, and he just looked at me. I looked at him. I said,
There you go.
"I think
Crazy.
I know what I'm talking about."
Isn't that one of the most like, I don't want to say the word
Refreshing.
happy, but like refreshing moments is when
I would say fulfilling.
fulfilling. Yeah,
Right,
is when
words.
you tell somebody or somebody seeks your advice,
Yeah.
and then you give that advice, and then it pays off for them. I know on the other side of it, like when I seek advice and the vice versa, like yeah, I'm totally fulfilled with joy.
I'll say a part of it was even this year. Like a lot of it is like, especially because I'm older, right?
Yeah.
All the young guys in our basketball program, they really listen to me, and they
That's good.
really heed to what I say, and they respect me, and I really like that. And I'll tell guys like, "Hey, I think you should do this jumper more, play this way, drive this way," and they do it, and they're like, "Okay, that makes sense." And I look at them every time. Every time I tell them to do something and they do it and it works, I go, wow, it looks like I know what I'm talking about, right? Like, I'm just more than some random dude who sits in a hoodie on the side. Like, I know what I'm doing. Like, I'll go back to, I think it was right before Christmas. We broke in those 4 teams we were playing. And I call play. I tell JB, I said, "Hey, run this play." We run it. JB scores. I'm at the scores table. I'm keeping the score. And I'm standing up, and JB's yelling at me. I'm yelling at him.
Yeah.
Let's go. And Coach Gibson looks at me and goes, "Give the man his points," right? Like it was one of those things where it was like,
Do your
the man
job.
his points.
Basically, it was do your job, and it was one of those things where it went from being like, "Oh, the high side," and then bringing me back down, right? Like it was one of those things where it was like, you're allowed to be so excited, but at the same time, you still have to do your job, right? And that kind of, as a coach,
Right.
that's kind of what you have to do, right? You can get so excited, You can be excited that your guys are successful, or like anything, like not just sports, right?
Oh yeah.
That anybody you're around is successful,
Yeah.
but you can't you can't draw on their success, right? You have to keep moving.
You gotta focus on your own.
And you have to keep going. Yeah, exactly. That was one thing that kind of really taught me. Or like you can't sit there and you can't
compare yourself. I think that's
comparing. I wouldn't say comparing myself, right? I would say
that's another topic.
Oh yeah. But I mean, like, for what I'm talking about.
But yeah, you don't want to compare yourself.
Yeah, it's not, yeah, you don't want to compare yourself, of course, because you're you and I'm him and I'm the best person I've ever met in my life, of course, right? That's the
perspective we should all have.
That's a good mindset.
Like, you're the best person you ever met, right? But you're never gonna
very
say
confidently,
that, right? But
well, you just did.
That's very self-centered.
You just did.
I know I just did that.
Okay.
I know, right? But no, like
anyway,
what I was talking about was like, it's not like comparing myself to others, but it's one of those things where it kind of proves to yourself that you know what you're doing.
Okay.
And it proves to everyone else that you do know what you're talking about, right? It's actually being my job, being what I do. A lot of it is, okay, yeah, you're X, Y, and Z. You do the laundry. That's all you do. But it's like I actually know things. Like I do know a thing or two. I've seen a thing or two. We are farmers. Bump it up.
Yeah, man. It kind of fulfills you to prove yourself right sometimes.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not even to prove myself right. It's to prove to others that I know what I'm doing. It's
for sure.
to others, because you could say you're the smartest guy in the room, right? And you could do all this work behind the scenes, X, Y, and Z, to prove that you're the smartest guy. But if no one knows, they're still going to think you're dumb, right? Or they're not going to believe you're smart, right? The real ones will believe you because real ones do, right? But there are a lot of people who don't and who won't care. So it's one of those things where sometimes you have to show what you know.
Yeah.
I think actions, that's like actions kind of speak louder than words then. And I think,
that can go a lot of different ways.
Yeah, in the nitty gritty, when things aren't going your way, or you might not feel you're getting recognition, or you're being your definition of successful, because everybody has their own definition, and I think they should. But you kind of got to just think back to what we've been talking about here. This too shall pass. Be grateful. Live in the present.
And chasing that bag doesn't have that money in it.
Bag, man.
That bag doesn't have to have money in it.
Sometimes chasing that bag don't work well, bro.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't have to have money in it.
Hey, I learned that the hard way. But
sometimes it could just have knowledge or power in it. And
chasing that bag, chasing that knowledge, could be knowledge in that bag.
Chasing that bag ain't a good thing.
Yeah.
I learned that the hard way.
Could be a good thing.
Sometimes,
might not be happy.
Sometimes it's the wrong decision. I learned that one.
If successful is to make over $100K a year and be sad as crap, then go for it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I was gonna ask, because I was thinking when Will's talking about kind of, I wanted to put the roles kind of reversed, like, and ask Tobin, has there ever been a situation that you can recall, like right now, that where you seek advice and it ended up making the person that gave you the advice pretty joyful and happy, and then you kind of both benefited from that? Is there a time where you were like really struggling with something and you're like, and you maybe had a role model or somebody in your life, could even be a parent, and just like, hey, I need help?
What if that role model was the one that was making you feel that way?
Oh, whoa.
I mean, go ahead and explain.
I don't know. I'm just saying that could be a case.
This just
I don't know.
Really
or maybe I needed the role model and I didn't have the role model there.
Okay.
At the time, I mean, sometimes that happens. Like, I could always talk to my family, my parents, and that's in turn what I ended up doing, and it made me stronger with my family and stuff like that.
But sometimes your family will say what you want to hear.
Sometimes, yeah.
That's.
But I mean, in this case, it was. Yeah. But I know what you mean.
Yeah, but there's a lot of times when, like, our parents don't ever want to see us sad. They don't ever want to see us struggle.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And there are times when your parents.
But I do think my parents are.
Say what you want to hear.
I wouldn't say brutally honest, because they're never brutal with it, but they always say what's
Mine are
right,
pretty
and
honest.
maybe that's why. I mean, I get annoyed with my mom sometimes. I'm sorry, mother, if I do. Which we both know I do.
You sound like every child ever exists.
Yeah. Sorry, Mrs. Tobin.
Yeah, I feel bad
and Mrs.
for
Johnson and Mrs. Garlock.
I feel bad for parents of high school kids, because holy crap.
Man, you that's one thing too. I look back and like having younger siblings, you kind of look back like, yeah, man, I hope I didn't do this to my parents, which
you probably did. Knowing we did.
For sure you did.
Yeah.
So,
but then at the same time, it's like, now that we're here and like, even just us doing this whole thing is like, wow, we're on to that next kind of step. We're on to that next kind of part of our journey. It's like we took what we learned from
for granted.
you can't take what you learned from your parents or those past experiences for granted because, Mama J is always right. That's what I always say.
Mama J is always right. Mama K is always right.
But to kind of go piggyback off that, did you ever have like a mentor other than your parents, like growing up, or somebody that you went and maybe seeked advice?
Not till recently. His name is Bill Kellemeyer. And it kind of goes back to the power of yes, right? My buddy Brent Miller from back home, he offered me a funeral home job right after I graduated high school. Okay, so I take the funeral home job. What happens after I take that funeral home job? I get offered to go to EMT school through the funeral home job. Wow. So boom, I get that paid for. I get another job. The power of yes, it led to all these different things. And through this funeral home job, I met one of my best friends ever, Bill Kellemeyer. And he has been almost like a mentor. He's been there for me all the time. I can text him about everything. We went to a trip to New York together. Like, he didn't have to take me. And, he looks out for me. And just like my parents do, they look out for me.
That's awesome, man.
So it was like the person I never knew that I needed, but kind of just came into my life unexpectedly. So, I mean,
I'd say
like that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
The best part is when people come into your life unexpectedly.
Yeah,
it can happen at any time when you think you're so lonely or thinking. I don't think I was lonely, but
like if this just happens to me, but even like within this past. I don't know how many weeks it's been since we started school, but since August,
4, 5,
I feel like I've kind of already went through multiple seasons where I've met people, talked to people for a decent amount of times, and things change, but like you're always meeting new people, but people are always coming into your life, and I don't know, it just feels like at that certain moment, like I didn't maybe think I needed them or vice versa, but like something good came out of it,
right?
And I'm very grateful for it. But to kind of piggyback, like I had a mentor, and that this is kind of where I kind of thought Defiance was like my legitimate, like where I was supposed to be, kind of like that, like snapping my fingers, like, oh, I feel like I was supposed to go here. Was like when I met Coach Retcher.
I knew you were gonna say Coach.
Yeah,
I knew you were gonna say my boy Marv. Bro.
So how did he make that? I wouldn't say make that decision for you, but how did
just a little background? Like Coach, I play basketball. But Coach Retcher was an assistant to our team my freshman year, so he wasn't paid or anything by the school to be coaching, but he has had years and years of experience. He's 76 years old, which is a little different to say is one of my best friends, but I can truly say to this day that he really is, and he means a lot to me. But anyways, it was just the typical, I'm a gym rat, kind of want to get after it after practice. He stuck around and offered to rebound for me one day. And pretty much ever since then, like we kind of made it a consistent thing. But a big thing was he like invited me to like out to dinner and like just to get to know me. And then eventually like he invited me to go to his church and everything. So like all of that kind of relationship formed as well. And then up, 3.5 years later, I text him on a daily basis of just little things that are going on in my life, like going to Unified Bowling and stuff. I told him, how I did and everything, and just have a conversation with him. It's really surreal. Like if I'd go back and tell my high school self or middle school self, like, hey, you're gonna have like a, an older gentleman be like a mentor to you, because I had lots of mentors growing up, like basketball trainers or coaches and people I've met along that journey. But
wouldn't believe it almost,
Yeah, I don't think you could. So it's just kind of like that relationship was kind of thrown in front of my face, and I wasn't afraid to. I don't care what people think. Like there'd be lots of times I'd be working out before or after practice, and maybe people look at you a little strange, or like, why are you putting all this effort in? And it's not for anybody else. It's for kind of like for me, kind of like what Will said, to prove yourself right, to prove to others through your actions. Like it was worth it, So he's meant a lot to me. So that was a big kind of portion.
Yeah, that's good. Anything to say on that?
Yeah, going along with that, I would say there's two for me. My high school basketball coach, right? Mm-hmm. Coach Kill. He's like a father to me. I always say that, and I will always do anything for him and his program, right? Like, because he took a chance on me and he gave me everything I ever wanted and more, right? He was legitimately like a father to me, and like when he got me this athletic scholarship to do my job at the NAS, and he got me my job here. Like it's just what he did for me, and he would do anything for me. So still to this day, I'll go back. If I got time, I'll go to practice, and he'll sit down there, and I know he'll be like, "Hey, go talk to him about how he's not listening to me. Go talk to him about how basketball programs are ran and how college programs are ran." And he goes, "Yeah, I would love if you come to practice and you give your perspective because you know more, and you come at things from a different angle. You're younger, you know the game pretty well, and you know how to do things X, Y, and Z. And it's just anything I ask, he'll help me out, like legitimately. And he texts me every year, texts me on my birthday.
That's awesome.
He never forgets me. This day, I'm 22 years old. Haven't been in high school for 4 years, right? Your high school basketball coach doesn't text you on your birthday, does he? No, right? Like it just doesn't. That's not happening.
We had a different
some people
relationship, but
like some people just mean more to you, you know.
And then like along those same lines with Coach Kill would be his assistant, or my assistant, my junior and my senior year. His name's Troy Parker. He's like a second dad to me, legitimately. Yeah. He is like a father to me. Like he and
it's
I.
Really good to have someone like
that, and it's legitimately it was. His son was a ball boy for us. His son's like my little brother, right? Both his sons are like my little brothers, right? And he just has always been there. Like every time he sees me, it's a big smile on his face. Willie love, what's up? And we talk about life.
Willie love, man.
Yeah, and when we leave, it's dab each other up, and we tell them we love each other, and we'll talk to again. You know?
Yeah.
So we do, and it's always stay in touch, right?
Isn't that so it's so awesome to have those long-term friendships and people in your life that even if you're not around them 24/7, they'll shoot you a text or something, or you'll meet up when you do find the time, but it's like you never left or whatever. Like I have a buddy, he texted me yesterday from back home, and he wants to give me a call this evening, so I haven't talked to him in a couple months, but I know as soon as I pick up the phone, I'm gonna kind of be pretty much like we left it, and I think that's just so it just fulfills you a big portion of your heart and your life, because it's like those what we mentioned earlier, the little things, and it's those little text messages, those little comments, or the little dap ups that you really appreciate, and
goes a long way.
Gratitude.
Yeah, I was talking earlier in an interview. It's like who's approachable, You notice right off the bat who's approachable, and that's the person you want to be with right away.
Exactly.
Like you put a line of 20 people that just I don't know, they could be walking with headphones on, they could be looking down, they could just not smiling, and I understand people might have RBFs or whatever, but you can kind of tell who's approachable, who's friendly, and I don't want to say it's not good to judge, obviously, a book by its cover, but
no,
looking approachable is definitely a good skill to have.
I think that's one thing that all three of us kind of share, and that to the audience, we kind of want to push for is, don't be afraid to be that person to when you're walking to class or you're walking down the street and you see somebody, maybe you don't know them, but give them a smile or give them a hey, what's up, or how you doing, bro, or and just try to I don't want to over exaggerate, make their day a whole better day, but
you might,
you might, sometimes those little things really do, or hold the door open for somebody, it's just those little things. I think I appreciate them when I see that, because it's very rare and it's really not common. So when I met you guys and our relationship and stuff, I see you guys do that on your own, that just really fills my heart.
It's awesome. Will is him.
Yeah,
dude. Yeah. I swear he's gonna say that every single episode.
Every episode,
I'm gonna find a way every time to say I'm him, bro.
I'm him
because I'm him. No, it's going on with that. I really didn't. I would say I always did that, right? But because the bubbling personality you have, right?
Sure.
You're very outgoing. I learned how to be very personable through my boss, right? At the fence place I work at.
Okay.
My guy Grandpa Smith.
In the summertime.
Yeah, my guy Grandpa Smith.
My guy makes fences.
Grandpa Smith.
My guy makes fences.
And
Wapak. Be building fences in Wapakoneta, Ohio. And he really showed me that like through your work, in your reputation, in your actions, people will respect you. Because like he's legitimately like my grandpa. Like my grandpa Garlock died when I was 9, I think, right? And then my mom's dad was never really in my life, so it's like for the formative years I never had a grandpa, right? So like my boy Jimbo is like my granddad.
Yeah, he stepped up to the plate.
Awesome.
I love that man to death. He'll do anything for me. I'll do anything for him. That's legit. And going around, the amount of people who have so much respect for him in Wapak, and he literally will walk up there and they will talk about anything, right? And that's what they do, and they respect him so much.
And that's probably not even credit to what he says on a daily basis, but how he acts.
It's how he acts, how he carries himself, and what he lets his work do the talking.
Yeah, how he carries himself. That's a big thing.
And what he does for his community too. Yeah. Like my boy Jim will do anything for the city of Wapakoneta, right? And then he's loyal to whatever his daughter got into, right? His daughter got into the Catholic schools in Lima, right? That's where they lived, and that's where I met Brant, right?
Yeah.
And Jim is so involved in the Lima Catholic schools because that's what he is, because that's where his grandkids go to school. And his son lives in Cleveland. He's gonna be tapped into wherever she goes, wherever he's gonna be tapped in for all that. And he taught me like that's what you do, right? Like I knew that's what you do that, right? You find your community and you do anything for them. But Jim really showed me how you do that and how it is. And like that's one thing. Like you were talking about mentors earlier. Like Jimbo is my guy.
He is one of those guys.
Like he and I will text each other about anything and everything.
Yeah.
Like I remember I was at a Halloween party, and I texted him, and he texted me. I don't know why he texted me like at midnight. He goes, "What are you doing?"
What's he got, like live 360 on you?
I honestly he needs to, because I need to keep tabs with my guy Jimbo, my guy Schmidbo. So he ends up texting me. He's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "What are you doing tonight?" Because I think I told Brant I was doing something, and I sent him a picture, and he goes, why are you dressed in a cowboy hat? Like, because my old guy was wearing a cowboy hat or whatever. He goes, "That's the cowboy hat I gave you." I said, "Yes, sir, it is."
Sir, it is.
And it's just one of those things where he's like, he goes,
"Give me that cowboy hat back."
He goes, "Why wasn't I invited?" Like,
that's something Jimbo would say.
Alfred, why was I not invited? I said, "Bro, bring the truck out here. Let's go."
Bring the truck.
So it just
bring another cowboy hat.
And he'll randomly text me, and he'll randomly do things for me. Like every Christmas, he gives me a gift. Like my gift is in Wapak right now. I gotta go somehow get it.
Yeah.
I'll tell him to not get me anything. He always
aren't
does,
you pretty excited for like the day, like when you get older and you're able to kind of fulfill Jim Bob's shoes, but be like a mentor or somebody else. Yeah, like that's what I'm so excited for.
And it's cool because like Jim had seen me through playing sports with his grandson, and that's how he knew me. And like Brant and I were close. We've always been close, and that's how he knew me, right?
Yeah.
And he's so close to us and his friends because his personality. He's the funniest human being I think I've ever met in my entire life.
Yeah.
Because he could make paint, like literally we could be painting a wall, and he'll make it funny somehow, and I'll be crying at something.
He just brings that energy. Yeah, and that shows through, Will's personality, and Will's just the way he carries himself, and I could say the same thing about myself or Tobin. Like I think me and Tobin were talking one time. We just were like, it could be the most introverted person ever, like sitting in the cafeteria, and I remember doing this in high school. I would go up to the table and I would sit next to them and have a conversation with them. Yeah. Because, what the heck? What is there to fear? Who cares if people are looking at you? Like, if this is going to maybe benefit the other person or it definitely is benefiting me.
Exactly.
It's like, you might as well.
It's a long way both ways.
Yeah, go for it, man.
It's a two-way street, man. It's not a one-way. It's two-way. Yeah. But, yeah, I would say that, like, because that's
your mentor.
Yeah, literally, like right now, yeah, he'll do anything for me.
Yeah.
If like, let's kind of go into this direction as far as, let's say we're one day, like, we have somebody that really looks up to us, and at least up to the experiences that we've had right now. What advice would you give them? Like, let's say they're going through something really difficult. And this doesn't have to be anything like cliche, but just something that you think of off the top of your head based off what we've talked about so far today.
Well, I think everything we've talked about today would be a good advice to give. I think we scraped the surface of a lot of different pathways, a lot of different tangents that we're going to be talking about at some point.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely get in. Yeah.
But I think it kind of depends on the situation that person might be in. Parents divorce, I could speak on that, it's obviously tough at first, and like we were talking about earlier, it's okay to be sad, it's okay to be upset, but it's just not okay to stay there. And I think that's good advice to give them, and just, I don't know, kind of letting them know that you always have someone to talk to, someone that's there, and that you didn't do anything wrong. It's not like because of you. That's just like one example.
Okay.
Know?
Yeah, that's excellent.
But there's a lot of different quotes, a lot of different ways you can. I don't know.
I think so. I mean, just to kind of go off that, sometimes the circumstances that we're put in, like our environment, it doesn't necessarily have to mold us or change us. I think if we're, like Will talked about, resilient, it's obviously easy to escape the environment or escape the challenge, but when we're resilient through that, I think that really shows something about a person when they're able to take that pain or take that suffering, but really like make it to the good.
What do you have to say on that?
From the whole thing, like the topic you just brought up, actually my third quote.
Go for it.
Oh, I love to hear this.
I love how this just kind of rolls.
It all goes together.
It does.
Yeah.
It really does.
I would say hard work can always beat talent when talent doesn't put in hard work.
I've heard that before.
Was that Kevin Durant?
It was more of a Nike. I mean, I saw it more as a Nike quote, but then
okay.
KD kind of jumped on it and saw it because of his stature and the way he
For sure.
But that's kind of a thing I always subscribe to, because I wasn't always the best at sports, right? I took sports perspective here. I wasn't always the best, right? So it was one of those things where, but excuse my French, I'll be damned if you work harder than me. Like,
yeah, man.
Legitimately, I legit you, because you won't.
Mm-hmm.
Like I will outwork you all day. Right? You can be better. You can be more talented than me, right? And that's fine. Please be more talented than me. But I will work harder than you. And you honestly, in the end, you still might be better than me. Because your 2% of hard work you're putting in, your talent can boost that extra 98%, and you can be better than me, right?
Sure.
But
But sooner or later, I think talent does run out. Like,
oh, it does.
At the same time, I think your attitude, and you're probably getting onto this, your attitude is a really big part, because when talent means talent, that only goes so far, but it's your attitude and
your hard work.
It's like me and Will had a conversation not too long ago. It's like all these college athletes and everyone like that. Every single one of them was him in high school.
Yep.
Like they were that guy in high school.
Yeah, they were the dude.
So how are they going to react? How are they going to respond when they're in an environment when everyone is when everyone was that guy in high school?
You got to be resilient through that environment, man. You can't let it mold you.
You got to want to work hard, and then you kind of find a lot out about yourself, whether if you actually work hard or if it was just your talent,
the bare minimum
that got you there.
Sure. Right? Like I say, that's my love-hate relationship with college sports. I love college sports, but I hate the part that it's everybody was the dude. No one really knows how to accept the role. Think about it, because most of the people who are in college, you were the dude from the time you started playing until the time you graduated high school. You were the dude, and you have no idea how to play that other role. Right? But so many very successful college players don't go to the NBA.
Yeah.
You know how many 5-stars sit the bench?
Yeah.
Because they can't accept that they're not the dude.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, if you go to Gonzaga, you're probably not going to be the dude as a freshman.
Isn't it the number one team in the country right now?
No, Purdue is.
Purdue.
But still, like they're
are they really?
Program, because Purdue's number one in the country. But no, because they aren't one of those schools like they aren't like North Carolina or Duke where they get 5-star freshmen, right? And like NBA play ready freshmen. So it's one of those things where like you're not going there to be the dude. You're going there to accept the role, right? And you have to accept the role. And that's the one thing. I don't care what division, I don't care what level, I don't care what sport. People can't accept they're not the dude.
I mean, I think could sometimes be in life too. Like at a job, like you got to be able to work as a team in your career. But I think that's a big thing that college sports and sports in general has taught me is, you got to be willing to sacrifice for other people, and also sacrifice your own time to put in the work to do that.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we kind of scraped the surface on a lot of different things. Do you guys want to do like something fun to kind of end it out? Or you just want to
a little? What do you have in mind?
I don't know. I heard of something called like an AUX Battle.
So an AUX Battle?
You want to lose to Willie G is what you're saying.
Well, all right. We'll do like 3 different rounds. Okay, like three rounds, all right? But we all go through our
or
just one round.
Hear about this. Three is tough because you have to have a judge.
Yeah.
We could just vote ourselves out.
I'll be the judge.
Between me and Grant?
AUX Battle between you two, I'll be the judge. You have to impress me. I love music.
Okay.
I have a very good taste in music. Other people might
And
disagree.
then
I DJ
and then it'll
in my
be me
free
and
time,
you.
so I
And
should
Grant will
not
be the
lose
judge.
this.
Or it's just you. It's
yeah.
just me versus
And then
Grant.
we'll figure out, and then we'll
It'll be kind of like a tournament thing
we'll
for all.
rotate it. Yeah, we'll rotate it every time.
Next
And
episode will
time-
change.
All right.
next time somebody else
I'm
will
not
do
gonna lie.
So,
this is my
AUX
first
Battle.
time
So pretty much what this
participating
is.
in AUX
I will
Battle.
give you a category,
Yep.
and you have to play the song that matches that category.
Can we just say the song? Because
You had to pick it out on your phone, go on Spotify,
You're not
YouTube,
playing the
Apple
entire
Music,
song.
and just play it.
You're playing a small snippet of the song. Give me a song from the 1980s.
I could go a bunch of different ways here.
Make sure these songs are PG, children.
Well,
AKA Grant.
what is this?
You pick a song
Got
from the 1980s.
what does this got to be about?
go to Apple.
The 1980s.
It could be about
A
anything.
song
Any
from
single
the
song in the
80s.
1980s.
How about we
that
try to
is-
relate it
For
to what we
example-
talked
no,
about?
For example,
Okay.
Thriller for Michael Jackson. A song from
Oh,
the 80s.
Michael's
That counts,
Michael is
right?
good.
Don't do Thriller for Michael Jackson. 'Cause I said it, but
This one's the one I have is definitely not like.
a song from the
Okay,
1980s.
I got a perfect song that I really enjoy from the 80s, and it also kind of goes along with what we've been talking about.
Okay, just play it.
Play it.
Just play the song. You don't. I don't want the background yet.
Not yet.
Don't tell me that yet. I want to know.
He went Michael Jackson.
Shocking.
He went Michael
All right,
Jackson.
why'd you go Michael Jackson?
So if you heard that just little snippet of the lyrics there, he said,
Say
"Show
what
it,
song
show
it
it
is.
how funky, huh?"
Tell us what song it is, by the way.
Let's Beat It by Michael Jackson for all those listeners out there. But yeah, he says, "Showing how funky, strong is your fight. It doesn't matter who's wrong or right. Just beat it, just beat it, just beat it." That's kind of what.
He does say it 3 times.
He just
Does say beat it 3 times.
But yeah, that's kind of why I picked it. Was you can't really, you shouldn't really care what other people think of what you're doing. Like, show them how funky. Show them, show them who's
Okay,
right.
Tobin,
Show
what
them
song
who's
did you-
right. So this is good.
So I'm glad Grant went along with what we talked about in today's podcast because I did not.
Good.
All right.
So here's what we got here.
Please
If you know it by the intro,
Please let this
you
be a
are that
banger.
guy.
Please let this be a banger.
Ready?
Oh, that's a banger.
I
didn't
got
think
it
about
bad.
What is it?
It's called Hot for Teacher.
Hot for teacher.
All right.
Yeah. So what the song means to me?
What's the song mean to you?
Yeah, what is Hot for Teacher?
Yeah,
mean to you,
each
buddy?
song we pick needs to have a little description box.
Yeah. You
I don't think this one needs a description. I think
No,
I'm
it
going.
really doesn't.
I think it's not available.
Yeah.
For a description, it's called.
Yeah, I literally
Yeah,
said that.
Eddie Van Halen.
Sorry.
Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just I went a little bit rock on that one,
Yeah, you
but then
did.
again, Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
It's a classic.
Tobin, you really let me down this time.
Did I?
You did. I'm gonna have to go with Michael Jackson there.
But like your reaction was so much greater on mine.
It was because I ain't gonna lie. I thought it was Get Out of My Dreams, Get Into My Car by Billy Ocean, and if you would have played that, you would have won for sure.
Oh, 100%.
But then it was Hot for Teacher. I was like,
All right, I'll take the
because
L.
it wasn't what I thought it was.
I'll take the L on that one because
Second one. Let's do.
Is this Told Me and Grant?
Yeah.
Okay.
Favorite song from a movie had to appear from a movie. So you have to tell me what movie it appeared in and why you like it.
I already got it.
Song from a movie. For example, Danger Zone from Top Gun.
Oh my gosh, that
Something
was
like
good.
that. Song like that. Don't pick that one because you picked that
I
one.
gotta
I think
go-
I'm
I
gonna
gotta-
try and
I got a good
please
song.
you
All right.
instead of.
Yeah, you gotta go. Yeah, you gotta go for what I like, man. This
So
is
since
for me.
I won, can I have Tobin go first?
Tobin can go first. Sure, we'll do that.
All right.
You can. It's like a coin toss.
Because I'll use that against
You can
yeah.
receive or no. You don't. You need to have your song picked before. He
I got
goes. Then yeah. So you yeah.
There's 2 movies this is from.
Okay, play it.
Do it.
I don't even know if I want to
Play it
because it's way too common.
Watch us pick
Whatever
the
you want.
same song.
If you pick the same
All
song,
right.
we'll repeat in the next round.
All
We'll
right.
double.
I got the whole scene for you played out.
All right, play it first. It's a great song.
Real good song.
Very upbeat. I feel like
Everyone's
this.
gonna know the song.
I feel like
Yeah,
this
you
is
go
the
to
song
it,
that you would listen to.
Shining in the sky.
You never heard the song before?
Yeah, for sure.
Mr. Blue Sky.
Stop raining.
Everybody's in a plane, and don't you know it's a beautiful day.
Hey.
All right, what movie is that from? What movie?
That movie is from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh man.
I know it's the one you like. It's a Marvel.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah, I like
you got
that one.
Baby Groot dancing to the credits right at the beginning. Oh, come on, man.
Solid.
Come on, man.
Brightly. I actually like the Weezer cover more, but
Well, that's,
I feel like
that wasn't
that's
in the
a
movie,
song.
it is.
Your ringers on. I feel like
Word
that's a
off.
song that you'd be listening to with your AirPods in. You're walking around campus.
It's a good
you see
wake up
somebody.
song.
You see somebody kind of like with their head down, and you're like, you take your AirPod out, you listen to that song. You're like,
What's up?
Yo, what's up, dog? You know, like how you doing?
Mr. Blue, she did it right, but soon comes Mr. Knight. Bro, yeah.
Now my song, I'm pretty
see it.
sure, also is featured in a Marvel movie, but I
Oh,
could be
no.
wrong. I believe Guardians of the Galaxy,
Play it and then explain it.
but I'm just gonna let it speak for itself. But where it also comes from is a football movie. So
I already know it. I already knew it. That's what I was gonna do. I was gonna do that. I was like, it's from 2 movies. Guardians of the Galaxy.
listen, baby, ain't no mountain high, ain't no valley low, ain't no river wide enough, baby.
That's a great song.
So
I was gonna pick
I
that
picked
one.
this song because ain't no mountain high enough, man. Like, sky's the limit for this podcast.
Remember
Sky's
the
the limit
Titans?
for our lives, man.
So yeah, basically it's from Remember the Titans, your favorite
And
movie.
Guardians
That's
of the
why.
Galaxy.
And it is from Guardians of the Galaxy. So I was
You
like,
double dipped in movies.
That's what I was gonna
Double
do.
dipped in movies.
But I thought it was too common.
Oh man,
I thought it was too
Double
common.
dipped in movies. Guess what that means?
You took
Tie.
the L.
Next round's worth
Next
double.
tie?
Next round
all
has to be
right.
worth
So
double.
basically,
So is that-
winner
There you go.
takes all.
Yep.
All
Songs
right.
from our
What's the
songs from our childhood. Songs from
like?
song from the
so can we say like 2010s?
2000s to 2020, basically the last 2 decades. So you have any song from 2000 to 2020 or 2019.
This is very
Childhood
difficult,
songs?
man.
Yes, it is. Our songs from our childhood, songs that we grew up with.
Can you give me like?
Songs
What?
from childhood.
Oh no, dude.
If you want an example,
Yes, give me an
I
example.
know. I want to know.
an example would be like, I'll give you 2. One, Sean Kingston, "Beautiful Girls."
Oh, that's a good
one. That'd
one.
be one from our childhood. That's what I'm saying.
Beautiful.
Yes.
I want to like surprise
Then
you with
part
a song
B
you've
would
never
be
seen
like, say
before.
like from our older, when we got a little older, in the 2020s, I'll say "Love" by Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick Lamar.
But
Yeah.
like those, like, you know what I mean? Like that was a song from when I was in high school, in college, growing up a little bit, right?
So,
Song from my
are we going more pop, that kind
go
of route?
whatever you want. It's whatever you want. You can go pop, country. You can go whatever you want. I really want you both to somehow play the same song. You know how cool that would be? That would be awesome.
Some of these songs, I'm looking on Apple Music right now, and they're listed.
Like a 2000s mix.
Yeah, they're listed as 2010, but I'm like, I don't even know if that's it.
When they came out, if they came out in 2010, or they probably got popular in the 2010s. So like there are some songs that did not get big until
A childhood.
Oh my
song.
goodness, there's so many songs.
songs from our childhood, man.
You can't just pick one. One's just gotta stand out.
I feel like me and Tobin's kind of style and music is similar, but like we like multiple genres of music. Like I'm not one dimensional when it comes to music.
What does Will like, dude?
Play some.
Ah,
So he's trying to pick
He's trying to play
something
what I
for
like.
you.
I mean, he's
I'm
doing
gonna pick
me.
something for what I like. I don't know, man. This is difficult for me.
You need to make a decision.
this is for everything.
What would you pick, Will, if you were gonna?
If I was gonna play this right
Yeah.
now,
While we're trying to figure out something.
I would either play. So for either I probably play Sean Kingston, "Beautiful Girl" stuff, or I would play Andy Grammer, a great song, "Fine by Me." I would.
Oh,
Fine by Me.
have you ever heard "Keep Your Head Up"?
I have definitely heard.
That's a
Keep Your
good
Head Up by
song.
Andy Grammer. That's a good one. Or I would say, I would probably play like "Forever" with Drake,
Okay.
Eminem.
I kind of got a song that's cheesy, but it was a banger for when like I was like ready to go before the games. So I'm gonna play that one.
Okay,
I bet Will could probably guess what I'm gonna play.
let's do it.
Your childhood is way different than mine.
Someone's got it.
You got it, buddy.
Oh,
I
Was that yours?
I was gonna, but I didn't. But I did a similar concept.
You said Eminem. I was like, oh, dude.
back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Oh, he go mad, but he so he won't mad, but he won't give up mad, but he go.
He won't have it. He knows his own back to
the road. I love it. All right.
Anyway,
Remote mobile home. That's when it's
back to the
Lab again, yo.
All right. What do you
Mom Spaghetti, he's nervous.
Why did you pick
Mom
you said
Spaghetti?
others, but
8 Mile is
why
a
did
great
you pick-
movie.
Why did you pick that?
Yeah, what was
because you said Eminem.
Okay.
Oh,
Cool.
okay.
All right. Well.
I
being
went with a
brutally
similar
honest.
kind of topic pump up song.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Look,
20% skill, 15% concentrated power will.
That's me.
that is good. That is good.
50% pain,
100% reason to remember the name.
just 3 dudes in their
Need his name up in
20s.
lights. He just wants to be heard.
Ow.
Oh my God.
So another kind of example song of what we've been talking about. Just remember the name, man. Who cares
Man.
what's going on in the moment? Just remember
the
the
show
name.
goes on. If you know what the show goes on, I'm in raps.
We might need to bring a coin next time and flip it because me and Tobin are.
Yeah,
are
I don't know.
pretty
I don't really know
beastly.
how you pick a winner on this one.
I don't think you can. I think it's honestly. I think it's
Rock, paper, scissors.
Maybe
get
maybe
deep
somebody in the comments should just comment below who they think.
get deep in your bag.
won.
Right. Get ready. Rematch next episode. We'll run it.
Stay
back.
tuned.
We'll run it back.
Yeah, we
Stay
can keep it
tuned.
going for sure.
Run it back. We'll run it back.
So what we got tied 1-1 right now. Game of 3. No, well,
In the next rounds were triple.
yeah.
Triple or nothing.
The next rounds were triple.
All right. Well, I mean, I think we kind of gone on long enough. It's
We
probably
really
gonna be a
have.
pretty long episode anyway. And I got to play some soccer. So
And I think, I mean, it's good.
it was very good.
The pilot, the pilot episode of.
I think it was just
3
good to kind of get going with it. And it was just kind of that thing. I even talked to them about this at the beginning. The fear of like, oh, what should we say? What should we do? But it's like,
Yeah.
as we got into it, like we've really talked about some good
I
stuff.
think this
man.
is kind of the gist of what I don't want to say almost every episode is going to be like, but we want to have a little bit of fun. We want to talk about serious conversations, I mean, today we kind of scraped the surface of a lot of different tangents, like I
Yeah.
said. So I think it'll be good to kind of dive deep in later episodes and make sure to keep it entertaining as well.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
Yeah.
Once again, we're just 3 dudes in our 20s. What do we know?
And that's how we will end this.
That's how we're gonna
end it.
Thank you for listening or watching this first. This episode of our podcast because we just happen to be 3 random dudes in our 20s, right? And
do not miss your
we look forward to your reception on this first episode, and we look forward to making more of these for you guys. And we'll catch you in episode 2.
That's
Peace
right.
out. Thanks,
Peace
everyone.
out.
Opportunity comes once in a lifetime.
Yes, sir.
Escaping.
Oh, that escaping. This world is mine for the taking. Making me king as we move toward a new order. Life is dark. We're superstars.